we are unveiling a strategic housing plan that sets a goal of permitting 15,000 new housing units by 2030. Our Housing Secretary, Deborah Goddard, and her team has created a powerful document that makes the case for why we need to act now, what barriers we need to overcome, how the state itself needs to collaborate with cities and towns to get the job done right, and how everyone needs to be part of the solution. The Secretary is going to walk you through the plan at a high level and let you know how you can provide your feedback. And I also want to just mention, which the Secretary will, that our cities and towns play a significant role in this plan. And we will gain a great deal of progress as we get municipal leadership more and more informed about what we're looking to do, and we're committed to do exactly that.
Housing 2030, its vision, very, very straightforward. Produce and preserve housing that responds to the needs of all Rhode Islanders, regardless of where they live, what their income is, what their other obstacles are facing them, to create strong communities with a diversity of housing options that are affordable and accessible. It's been a hefty process. I miscued her. It's been a hefty process of consultation. We had an advisory committee who I also need to thank. We did policy research, interviews, stakeholder meetings, resident survey from which we got 1,800 responses. So a very robust process in terms of getting input to put this together. Okay. And what did we hear? It won't be surprising to any of you, but over and over again we heard, my kids, my grandkids can't live here in Rhode Island. They can't afford it. We hear from employers that they're struggling to recruit and retain workers because the workers don't have housing. And we've got some significant job growth potential here in Portsmouth, in Kingstown, North Kingstown. We don't want to stunt that because folks can't find affordable housing. Seniors, they have a 4-bedroom house, they want to downsize. There's not stock for them to move into the 1 or 2 bedroom that they would like to live in, freeing up that 3 or 4 bedroom that they don't need anymore. And very, very clearly, a lack of affordable housing is driving our homelessness crisis. It is very well documented that the single most significant factor leading to homelessness is the unaffordability of housing. How did we get here? Some of this is not new. It's several factors. First being, we have not built enough. Simple as that. We have had an uptick with the investments that the governor's made in the last few years. We're getting back to pre-recession production, but we have a long way to go to meet our need. We're moving in the right direction. We need to do more. So, in response, as the governor mentioned, our goal is 15,000 units by 2030. This is not quite doubling what we've done in the 5 years of 2019 to 2023, for which we have the data. It's a stretch, but we really feel it's doable given the trajectory we're on. But more than just 15,000 units. Within that, we want to permit triple ADUs. We want to create 1,000 low-cost home ownership units. We want to serve the spectrum of affordability. I'll say it over and over again. So we need to make sure we're building home ownership for those entering the market as well as those who are able to procure it in the market but can't find a house. And we want to increase what we call middle market units by 50%. These are the 2 families, the 3 families, the townhouses, the 2s and 3s that you used to see, or you still see across the state, but in many places we cannot build them anymore because of zoning obstacles. We want to finance, in addition to what gets permitted, over 2,000 units of affordable rental housing. We want to address the need for extremely low-income households, as well as the need for permanent supportive housing in this band. Again, reaching everyone from top to bottom in what we produce. And we want to preserve Obviously, we don't want to take 2 steps back by losing housing if we try and take a step forward in production. And then, of course, we're going to move all of this towards the 2030 goals of the governor. I've said this, you're going to get sick of me hearing it, saying it, but it's true. Housing is the foundation for good outcomes in health, for good outcomes in education, and for increasing the economic well-being of all of our households as well as our state. What's standing in the way of building more? Well, the second issue that you're well aware of is we don't allow the homes to be built that we need. Going back to those 2s and 3s, they're just not being built these days. A couple of stats here. 87% of Rhode Island is zoned for single family by right. That's the only thing you could build if you own a piece of land without getting some sort of permitting exclusion, exception, exemption from your zoning board or your planning board. Only 20% of our land in Rhode Island allows you to build a 2-family by right without going for permission. And again, this is a classic housing style that we see all over the place, and we used to build all over the place, and we've zoned it out of existence for new creation. We've got to address this, or we won't get to where we need to be, and we won't serve the people we need to serve. Another cause, third cause, effects of rising development costs. This is Econ 101, right? Our cost of construction is increasing significantly, 40% since 2020. Land value, 81% up between 2012 and 2022, 10 years. Obviously, with that pressure on pricing and construction, our costs, our rents, and our price of homes are going up. The stat here tells the big story, number 5. The number of newly developed homes with a sales price under $400K has fallen by 47% since 2022. So we are pegging some of our work to be producing those houses at $400,000 or below, which a moderate income family can afford. Likewise, rents have increased by 60%. So again, going back to what's creating some of the squeeze and some of the issues we're facing across our state. So our strategies are very straightforward. We're going to set municipal goals for every community, both production goals and low and moderate income housing goals, and we're going to reward progress. If you're taking the actions to open your community up for development in a way that will get you to your goals, maybe you get preference in some discretionary funding you want. We want to take a carrot approach. Second, address zoning and regulatory barriers. Clearly, this has to happen at the local level for the most part. We want to be working with our communities in terms of technical assistance, visualization, AE services, to help communities understand what some of the zoning changes would allow and what they won't allow in terms of their fear of what housing and affordable housing can bring to their community. 3, strategic investments. With all of our partners, but particularly with Rhode Island Housing, we want to work in collaboration to use that bond money, that $120 million that the voters of Rhode Island gave us. We don't want to stand still, but we want to be strategic. We want to balance those 2 requirements. 4, build and sustain key partnerships. We know we can't do this alone. We need collaboration, as the governor said, with our municipalities, but with our development community, for-profit and nonprofit, with our providers, other state agencies. I've said Rhode Island Housing, but DEM, DBR, it's the laundry list. We need all to be working together, pulling in the same direction. Employers, very key. Faith community, we want to have a very broad, inclusive voice for delivering on this package. And then 5, support home ownership and housing stability, again, across that spectrum. So, municipal production goals, want to emphasize a couple of things. We have not taken a one-size-fits-all approach, and we are not doing anything to change the 10%, the Low Mod Housing Act law. What we are doing is setting overall production goals for every community, and within that, a low mod goal. So, let me just get into the weeds a little bit. If you are at your 10% under the Low Mod Housing Act, we just want you to stay there, and we're going to set your goal for low mod at a continued 10% so you don't fall behind. If you haven't met your 10%, we want to nudge you a little bit, and we're going to ask you to achieve this at a 15% goal annually to create new low-mod housing, inch you towards meeting that 10% overall goal under the state statute. And if you're interested, you can go to page 33 of the plan and you'll see the municipal goals for every community.